And of course, we have that lovely lady who we had last week, and many of you loved her and you wanted to know more. Of course, some of you know her and you want her to talk about a number of things that you are very fascinated with. So we have Mrs. Lilly Long. She has been teaching since the age of 14 years old. She began her teaching career as a pre-trained teacher in Hanover, Jamaica, her birthplace. She's a trained teacher who was among the first set of teachers to open the Harborview Primary School, that's in Kingston here, in 1962. That's the year for independence, and is the only surviving teacher of that first set of teachers. Can you imagine that? Mrs. Lilly Long has made many contributions in the education field, rising from the ranks of trained teacher to internship supervisor, primary school supervisor, education officer, and retiring in 1987 as senior education officer for the early childhood education program in the Ministry of Education. Over 30 years of sterling and dedicated service as an educator and leader, she has left an indelible mark in each of the many areas she has served. And of course, she's very much involved in the church, Lincoln Kirk United Church, as a Sunday school superintendent, and very much involved. Did I mention also St. Mark's Methodist Church in Harborview as president of the Women's Guild for many years. Good afternoon, Sister Lilly. How you do?
Good afternoon, Mr. Darby.
Boy, may I tell you, mash up my show last week. Everybody want to hear from you again. It is great to have you, and God has blessed you that you still have a great memory. Your memory just as good as mine, because I slip up sometimes, so nobody complain about your memory. Boy, at 101 years old, you have certainly been blessed. It's great to have you again. Now, today, we're going to be talking about your family, the challenges, and we hope that people who are listening will be inspired, because I know that you are a fighter and your family members, they are fighters themselves. And of course, close to the end of the program, we are going to hear from you about that book. Now, I don't think anybody has mentioned it to you, but you probably one of the oldest, if not the oldest author in this country. You ever think of that at all? You thought of that?
How many?
You know that you are probably one of the oldest authors in this country.
I don't know. I have no idea.
Yes, I'll be checking it out, but I will be checking it out because I have a very strong feeling that you've probably made another bit of history there. But I will do my bit of research and talking to other people. Now, today we're going to talk about family, where you're coming from. Where you find that gentleman who you fell in love with, some of the challenges, having children, how you cope financially, or the salary of a teacher. Tell us so tell us about that gentleman who you fell in love with and got married to.
Well, that gentleman was actually a detective corporal, Dervin Thaddeus Long, D.T. Long. And he was known, he was known all over in our area as DT. So, he was always DT. So anybody said DT, they know who they're talking about.
Yes.
He was Dervin Thaddeus Long.
Now, you remember how old you were when you got married, and what about him? What was so special about him? Was it the uniform? What's so special about why you fell in love with him?
Well, maybe it was more him about me.
Don't tell me what about you? You think you fell in love with?
Yes. Well, he was a very special man.
Yes.
He actually, was very kind and very loving.
Yes.
And he never did anything to make you be upset. And if at all he thought you were upset, would be willing and the first to apologize. And I did appreciate that and his treatment of me. Because if I had followed my parents and so, I would never have married him, because they always say, don't marry a policeman.
Yes, I'm aware that your parents are not unique, you know. Tell me why they didn't want you to marry a policeman.
Well, they always think that a policeman was not kind. They don't think the policeman was kind.
Yes.
They didn't think so. But then I said to my mother, I said, Mommy, this one is different. So he actually proved himself to be, one with very thoughtful, and he would always think about his home, about the children, and he would do everything to protect us. I appreciated that so much. It was unfortunate, though, that in the line of duty, he got injured and had to be discharged from the force. So we had to cope with that. The children were just very small at the time. They were like 3 years old. The latest ones, or the last ones, were like 3 years old when that. But he coped very well, because he actually told that they went for training in England. The government appreciated his service.
Yes.
And sent him for training in England when he became disabled. And so he came back and brought back documents, not just with his training, because he became a trained accountant, and he was the accountant at the Mona Rehabilitation Center when the poliomyelitis outbreak.
Yes.
And under Professor John Golding, he and Mr. Henriquez, they established that rehabilitation center that is still serving disabled persons. So many of them said, well, Mrs. Long, it was unfortunate, but it was a good thing your husband came to this place, because it was a different place after he went there.
Yes.
He uplifted their spirits. He never made any issue about his accident in the force and why he had to retire from the force. He used it. He learned to drive a disabled vehicle, a vehicle that disabled persons could use.
Yes.
And he was one of the first persons driving with a disability, driving a motor car that was actually designed for a disabled person. And that car served him until he actually left us, because he left us in 19. He left us in.
Well, okay, that I know that's sleepy, but you don't pressure yourself as far as that is concerned. But let me ask you, did he meet in any accident at all?
Pardon?
Did he meet in any accident?
Yes, he was in the accident.
I mean, while driving?
No accident. No accident while driving.
Let me ask, approximately how many years did he drive for after he became a disabled person? And of course, a disabled, because if he was disabled, he would be driving still.
About 40 years.
40 years. Now, I will tell
Yeah.
you, I know some people question, you can't make a man like that have license. Another thing we are prejudiced against is those who reach a certain age, we feel they can't drive. I understand that you were driving even when you were up in age. How old were you when you stopped driving?
When I stopped driving,
Yes.
I stopped driving in November. No. Yes, in November.
Don't worry about the date. I just want to know roughly how old were you then when you remember how old you were?
I was like 99. Now 95.
When
Yeah,
you're
about,
driving, listen, it does
yeah, I
not
was
matter.
about 90.
It
Oh, yes, I
doesn't
was
matter at
about
all.
95.
It
2018. I stopped driving in 2018.
no
So
man.
you can do the maths.
No, we're not good at maths. I don't see why you want me to do maths. All I know is say you were still driving at that age. I know why I ask.
Uh,
Because when you're young, nobody to ask you for any doctor's certificate. But when you reach a certain age, they ask that you must have a doctor's certificate. No, you are driving at over 90, and I'm sure you are driving better than the young people. And your husband was driving well up into age, and they said disabled. No, he wasn't disabled. Because I will tell you, Mrs. Long, the people on the streets now driving, probably they are disabled. And probably they
yeah,
are not too straight in their minds. And I want to
yeah.
make this point that even at your age, you are able to drive. And I gather that you ever take the bus and you go to Coronation Market and you're up and down the place here. What easy.
No, I don't take the bus, I drive. I have been driving. I have been driving for many years. Many years. How old was I when I started driving?
It is
About,
just
about 24.
really
Yeah, when I started to drive. And I drove up to 100.
that nearly 100.
No,
That is
2018. 2018. Yeah.
yes.
But I did a lot of other travels, because I used to travel by air. I used to take the plane and go from here to Texas, and I go up to uh, uh, New Jersey.
What a thing. Let I
Yeah,
tell you
I go
what.
by.
I'm going to take a little break now. We come back. I want you to talk about the family because here you are now with a husband who had an accident in the force, and I'm sure he was not able to function the way he ought to function. And I want to know here about the children. How did you cope with the children and how the children have been doing? We're talking to Lilly Long, who has lived a long life, a talented woman. This is Spot On with Vernon and Dab. We're going to go for a break, so come back, don't move. Welcome back. You're listening to Spot On with Vernon Darby, coming to you live from Kingston, Jamaica. We're in the middle of the Caribbean Sea, where we say, well, what? Jamaica? We little, but we Talawa. My very special guest this afternoon is Lilly Jane Long. Welcome back, Mrs. Long.
Yes, Mr. Darwin.
Now we reached the point where you're talking about your husband who had a terrible accident, and we have to think of all the police officers who have had accidents in the force and leaving children and spouses behind and other relatives and friends. And we must pay special tribute to members of the police force. Now, that was something to deal with. And of course, he was away for how long? That means you were on your own, managing with how many children?
Well, he was away, first of all, for 1 year at Stoke Mandeville Hospital, where he went for treatment.
Yes.
The government had, the matter was taken up in Parliament, and he was sent to Stoke Mandeville Hospital, which is a special place for persons with disability to help them to cope. And after that, he was able to drive a motor vehicle, and he went back on the road and he drove from where he stayed at the Mona Rehab Center, and he drove down to church in Harborview,
Yeah.
and he carried children from there to church. Took some of them for them to attend church because they were disabled for the polio. The polio had caused some of these children to be disabled
Right.
when he went there with his disability. But because he could drive, he drove them down to church in Harborview,
Mm-hmm.
take them back home, and he would have birthday parties for some of them. And some of them appreciate it until this day. They talk about it and said it was a good thing that he came to the Mona Rehab Center. They said to me, Mrs. Long, we are really sorry to say this, but it was a good thing that he came to the rehab center because it made a lot of difference in their lives.
Well, tell me how you managed. By this time, how many children you had?
Well, my mother was alive still. My mother used to help me. My mother would help me with the children.
Yes.
I had to go to work. And by this time, I was a traveling officer with the Ministry of Education.
Oh,
And
yes.
yeah, and so I had St. Thomas,
Mm-hmm.
and part of Portland for me to supervise. So I supervised. First of all, I supervised interns, teachers who had done 1 year in college, and then they were to do the other year in the classrooms. And so I had to supervise them in the classroom. So I was a traveling officer, traveling throughout St. Thomas and parts of Portland, supervising these teachers who were in need of supervision.
Tell me about the children now. At that point, how many children you had? Tell me about the children. Give me their names.
Well, the children are 3 girls, including a pair of twins.
What?
Yeah. And 2 boys.
So 5 in all.
Yeah. The girls, the twins are Paulette and Paula.
Mm-hmm.
And the first girl is Dawn. And Dawn was the first child that I had. So there was Dawn, then
Paula.
there's Paulette and Paula, and then there are the 2 boys. Larry, his name is Lawrence because he's named after my parents' name, because I was Lilly Lawrence, you know.
Yeah, okay. I see.
Yeah. So he was called Lawrence, and he's still Lawrence Long.
Mm-hmm.
So if you hear Larry Long, it's my son.
Lawrence Long.
Yes.
So tell me about them because I know that. Oh, go ahead. Continue.
And there is Wayne Long.
Yes.
Wayne is involved in a lot of sporting events. All these racing events with the schools. So he's really a teacher. He's a trained teacher.
Mm-hmm.
Wayne is a trained teacher. And Larry is a trained, what you call him?
Medical, is it med tech? I'm trying to remember, but don't worry about that. Now, he was also involved in sports.
But Larry does a lot of church work.
Yes. And he was also involved in sports. Tell me about Larry.
He was a long distance runner.
Mm-hmm.
When he was at, he went to CAS, College of Arts, Science and Technology. as cast.
Right.
All right. So while he was a student at cast, he met in an accident, a road accident, and he lost a leg. Unfortunately, but he became a real Christian.
Mm-hmm.
He overcame that, and he does a lot of church work
Yes.
now. Yeah, he's involved in a lot of church work.
And
And
you're,
he,
yes.
and he also does other community activities.
Mm-hmm. And many of us had hoped that he would have done well in sports to probably even be part of the Olympic team to representing Jamaica, but that didn't happen at all.
No, no.
And I think another one of your daughter also had a challenge. Is it Molly?
Yes, Molly. Well, it was, she was born with that sort of challenge.
Yes.
She was born with that.
Mm-hmm.
And she has had some adjustments done to one of the heel cords was shorter than the other.
Yes.
But Professor Golding did some work on that, and that helped her to overcome much of that challenge.
Mm-hmm. So there you have a family with various challenges, a husband,
Yes,
but you all continue to fight. I get the impression that you all work together. And
yes, yes,
you have been telling us about some things which about your husband was caring and loving. And I think that probably is lacking nowadays. That probably is old fashioned like you, loving and caring and to say I'm sorry. Well, that's why the marriages don't last very long. If it lasts over a year these days, you have to give thanks.
yes, that's true. That's true. Yes.
Now, we still come for another break, but I want you to talk a bit now. Now your turn, author, teacher and educator and civil servant. What? No, you're going to turn author. No, but you're not easy. You look like your brain clicking better than when I was young people.
Well, book.
Tell me
I
about
wrote,
that. Tell me about that book. I see you can. What if you can turn the front around? Yes. No, she can manage. You leave her. Yes. Good.
see that the title of the book speaks for itself. It says, Footsteps of God.
Footstep of footsteps
The
of God.
footsteps, the footsteps, the footsteps of God.
And probably all these years, your family has been moving along because he's been carrying the family.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's right. That's why the title of the book.
Mm-hmm.
It is to show how he has carried me from early childhood to old age. When we were living in the
I'm gonna cut
rural
you right there. So
Jamaica,
don't tell me about no old age because you sound like you're young somebody, you know. Your voice strong, so we can't tell about old age. Your voice is very strong, and trust me, you did very well at the past discussion we had. I know you are doing very well. Tell me about that book. Why did you decide not to write that book?
well, I'm going to show you what it looks like.
Yes.
Can you read the
Right?
title?
Yes, we can. Yeah, we'll sing it. The footstep of God. Mm-hmm.
Footsteps of God. And in it is a collection of stories.
Yes.
And they are true stories that have actually taken place over my lifetime. So they are not stories that I hear about. They're not stories that somebody else
Mm-hmm.
talk about. They are my own experiences of God Himself
Mm-hmm.
taking care of me from I was a baby, as it were, all the way up. And I'm to say to you that my mother, she helped me along the way She lived with me. She lived until she was over 80.
Yes.
She was over 80 when she died. And she helped me with the children because I had to work. I had to do supervision. I had the whole of St. Thomas to supervise and parts of Portland. But she was here, and I had a helper in the home, and she, along with the helper, would take care of the children.
What is your mother's name?
Yes, it said the stories in the pages are evidence of God's work as He worked in my life, guiding and directing me from early childhood to old age. They
But I
are
tell
my
you what, we'll go for like a
testimonies.
short musical break. When we come back, I'm going to ask you to read a very short paragraph from it. It has to be very short. So we're talking to that woman who has lived a long life, 101. She was driving over the age of 90. Can you imagine? And now she is an author. And I'm checking to find out, and you can probably help me. She probably one of the oldest authors in the world. She probably is the oldest author in Jamaica. This is Spot On with Vernon Darby. Let's go for a very short musical break to come back. Don't move. Welcome back. You're listening to Spot On with Vernon Darby, coming to you live from Kingston, Jamaica. Yes, this is Spot On. We're right here in the middle of the Caribbean, where we say, what? Jamaica? We're little, but we Talawa. My very special guest is Lilly Jane Long. And we're going to ask her, yes, she is now an author, 101 years old. And we need to find out. I'm sure she's one of the oldest author, if not the oldest author in Jamaica. We're going to ask you to read just a paragraph of your book. So
Okay,
go ahead.
I'm going to read what could be a short part. The title is Lightning and Thunder. It was the second Monday in September, and at 6 p.m., I was leaving the house to go to the Women's League meeting. I drove the car out of the carport and was about to close the gate when I suddenly noticed that there was a peculiar look in the atmosphere and there was a slight drizzle. I thought it best to get my umbrella, so I went back inside the house. I attempted to get the umbrella down from where it was hanging. With all my effort, the umbrella refused to budge. I became somewhat irritated at the fact that the umbrella was stubborn and would not come down. However, it eventually did, and as I walked out of the carport toward the driveway, I found myself engulfed in the biggest and brightest light that I had ever seen. Before I could comprehend what this was, I saw huge coals of fire jumping up and down on the driveway. Immediately, my senses said, lightning, lightning. I flung the umbrella and the car keys flying as I rushed back inside and called out, Jesus have mercy, Jesus have mercy. Then I heard a tremendous clap of thunder and a downpour of rain. For the rest of the evening into the night, the wrath of the elements, lightning, thunder, and rain engulfed the area. Later that night, the public service vehicle arrived at the gate to work on the light wires. The electricity was knocked out from the light pole at my gate. A man was heard saying that he saw the ball of fire falling right there in my yard.
So hold up. No, many many persons don't understand that lightning is not something to play with, And you had an
Oh,
umbrella. That umbrella could have attracted that lightning. So you get that was a close shave with possible death.
what's holding the umbrella? What's holding the umbrella why it wouldn't come down?
Why? As them say, you know this song? God move in a mysterious way. God move in a mysterious way. You know that one?
Right, right,
It's
right.
wondrous to find them. Well, I have to give thanks. And that,
Yeah.
by the way, all you have told us today, time is going slipping by, is something we can learn from. It's your story, but even choosing a spouse, you heard what he said about your husband? Scaring. He was loving.
He was
You
very
told us.
caring and very
Mm.
loving.
So guess what? All those who are look man with long pocket, you better watch it. You told us about your husband, what he went through. He didn't give up.
No, no, he never
And
did.
you could have
Matter
left
of
him
fact,
too. No football that left the husband. Because if he said that, as I said, disabled, he was probably far more able than many able-bodied men. You talk about your children.
yes,
With that challenge, there's Molly, there's Larry Long, and you
yes,
work with them. You also tell us about your mother worked with you. We understand now the importance of the extended family.
yes.
What I like to do.
My mother
Mhm.
lived with me.
For a very long time. But I want you
Yes,
to
my
tell
mother.
us now, because time is going, tell us how they can get that wonderful book of yours. I'm sure you probably have it in the stores. They probably get it online. Tell us how we can get a
Well, you
copy.
can get it from Amazon. You
Yes.
can get it online from Amazon.
Mhm.
And right
In
here,
Jamaica, uh-huh.
yes.
So if we go to the bookshops, we'll be able to get it.
No, not in Jamaica.
Not
I
in
don't think
Jamaica.
it will, no.
So the
But
way
they
to
can
go
get it,
on
they can
Amazon.
get it from Amazon. They can get it from Amazon.
Let me ask you, would it be the electronic form or they'll get a hard copy of it?
Hard copy. You can you can get a hard copy.
No, it's okay. You can put the book aside. It's okay. She's managing pretty well. So we
Yeah.
can get a hard copy of it from Amazon.
Yes.
That's quite interesting. You plan to write another book? You look fit in your mind sharp, same way?
Well, what I want to write now is
Yes,
actually my autobiography.
yes,
I need to write that so that all those who never have any idea of the author, they
yes.
will get an idea when I write the autobiography. So this is going to be Lilly Jane Long, an autobiography.
Right. Oh boy, it has been great talking. But I'm sure you have a few more things that you love to say to us before you leave us. Of course, we need to get that book. But any final word you want to say to us before you leave us?
The final word that I would like to say, I would like to encourage you to actually bring to the attention of youngsters that they are fortunate to have
Mhm.
old people in their communities. They must talk with them and get ideas from them how to live a good life.
And living a good life don't mean to spend thousands of dollars and go to parties. It's just being able to live a life where, as you said, you know, Christ has carried you.
Yeah, yeah. But God has the power to carry them through
Yes.
and make their life what it should be.
Thank you very
Because
much.
I'm sure.
Thank you very much, Miss Lilly Jane Long. It was wonderful talking with you. And I don't want to say anything negative, but just by talking to you, there's one lady who I've always wanted to interview, two parts, and I was only able to do one. I want to say I am happy that I'll be able to do the two parts with you. And I must tell you, I got very nervous last night. I said, am I going to have her still? And God bless you that you have lived and you have done two parts. So I'm going to tell you, there will be another part with Lilly Jane Long. Have a wonderful day, man. You take care.
Yes, thank
I
you.
enjoyed, and
And
my
I,
listeners enjoyed that in the last discussion I had with you. They loved it.
and I thank you very much, Mr. David, for the interview.
All the best, my friend.